Yo, what is going on, everybody? It's Brave Cat here with really just another ramble. And the gameplay in the background is really just, for some reason, it just feels like the easiest way to explore my thoughts, talk about them, while the rest of me is like distracted by something. I don't know what it is, man. Maybe someone can explain how this even works, you know? Because I'll just do my thing here and just ramble about what I feel like talking about. Because there's a video that I'll be linking in the description that just really resonated me, and it was actually really this person's channel. There's a lot of things that resonate, and I think a lot of people of similar age can relate to as well. So it was videos by a person named Bailey Schildbach, and it just seems to just really hit the nail on the head, talking about a lot of introspective things and also a lot of generalized things. You know, what does it really mean to be here on this planet? And if you're someone who has a lot of ambition, which I know I do, why is it that many of us find ourselves to be completely and utterly exhausted before we can even follow through with major projects or goals or anything that we strive to do? Like, we just seem to get so exhausted, and just to the point where like our minds and bodies can't even seem to reconcile with whatever big plans we had for ourselves, or whatever it is. And I can run through some examples, personal ones at least, for me. Like with this YouTube channel, for example, I think I've had nothing but ambitions when it comes to this. Whether it be the way I started my YouTube channel, which was, essentially trying to replicate the size of a small country in Minecraft, with the Attack on Titan stuff. I mean, that is such a huge project. I don't even know why anybody would bother to think of such a crazy ambitious project. Like what was I thinking, right? I don't regret it. I think it was a lot of fun. I think it was really awesome in the moment. And obviously I was younger. I was in a time in my life before I started working a job, before I started to have to pick up other responsibilities. So you could say, okay, that was the reason why I didn't follow through. But it's happened time and time again, even when I don't have a job, like right now. Even when I have, I could have all the time in the world. And it just seems like so many times I feel like I have to be pushing for such a level of greatness that I don't even know why I would ever hope to, accomplish that. And, it gets exhausting. Thinking that you can do something absolutely incredible when other people do incredible things, but then you try to do it and something falls short, or you fall short with yourself, or you become victim to other people's expectations or even your own expectations. And again, I'm kind of referencing the video that inspired me to make this rant because so much of it just rang true. And I know not everybody's going to be able to relate to these things, most, heck, we're all just trying to survive. Like, that's the bare minimum, is like, that's what we've done as humans for as long as time can remember. And yet, with how much stuff has changed, that really hasn't. Like, we're all still just surviving at the end of the day. Like, whether you have to struggle through a job you hate or just simply get the energy and the motivation to move around and take care of yourself, whatever it is, like, that's the bare minimum. That's the constant, is survival. And it's like in the modern world especially, a lot of us feel like this pressure to do something extraordinary, or to follow social norms, and constantly chasing something. I mean, bare minimum, That's a pretty big commonality, is just this feeling of having to chase something. And, you know, a lot of times it has to do with finding some sort of, what's the word here? It's like, you know, finding relatabilities, finding like safety, having some sort of safety net, and, you know, comfortable with like the same day in, day out. You know, a lot of it has to do with insecurities. You know, even when we find ourselves in a toxic relationship or circumstance, it could be a toxic relationship with a job, it could be a toxic relationship with yourself, like anything, you know, between two things, there's always a level of like what you're comfortable with is what you're most likely to settle with. And, you know, you could play it safe and be like, yeah, you know, this job or this relationship, you know, it hurts me, it breaks me down, but at the same time, it's the only thing I've known, and it makes me comfortable in some way, and that's how most of us operate. You know, trying to get out of that box is pretty hard. But it's like things come to a point, especially I think nowadays, like, you know, with how much chaos is in today's society, with how many times we get challenged of our own values to where, you know, you can run away from it all you want, but, you know, I feel like a lot of people have been having to face themselves, have been having to question themselves and their beliefs and their actions, and really be like, you know, is this really what I'm happy doing? Or, you know, is this thing that I've set myself to accomplish, you know, not even asking, is it worth it, but asking, like, you know, does this even feel right? Like, is this actually what I was meant to do? Because a lot of times it's just not the case. You know, you could fall in love with something, a hobby, you know, a passion project, a job, but then not too much time later, you could easily start to get this feeling in your chest, like, wait a minute, I don't think this is it. Like, actually, like, you know, something don't feel right here. You know, something feels miserable about it. And I think I've had that come up so many times, especially with my own passions and projects that I've had, where it's like, okay, I'll feel some passion towards it, but then some, you know, after a certain amount of effort, it's like it becomes another box. It just becomes another expectation. And so some of the other examples for me, like, you know, I started making some proxy cards for Magic the Gathering, and it was fun. It was like, oh, this is great. This is another way for me to express my creativity. But then immediately I jumped into it as if I had to create the best thing ever created. And so, you know, I got about halfway through making a full commander deck that's fully customized based on the anime Soul Eater. I guess I could link that gallery as well. And see, I had fun making the first few dozen cards, but then once I had that prospect of like, oh, now I need to make the whole rest of the deck. I need to make 100 cards, including all the tokens and all the other crap. And then it just, the exhaustion set in, the boredom set in. I'm like, man, like, do I really have to come up with the most ambitious way to do something possible? And it's exhausting. It's like, where did that even come from? Like, why? Like, something clearly has, like, pushed me towards that, like, kind of unintentionally, you know, whether it be, I don't know, something to do with growing up, or the world we live in, where it's like, you know, we look around at all this dazzling stuff that other people are doing, and we find ourselves like, oh, we got to do the same thing. We got to commit our entire life's existence to one thing and never even take a breather. You know, I mean, hey, other people are able to do it, right? But we all have different requirements. We all have different paths. And, you know, the hardest thing is when you've put so much effort into one path and then you have a stark realization that, like, wait a minute, like, I should change my direction. I should completely change my path, simply because, you know, either it ain't working out or because there's something closer to home. There's something that feels more true within us, that we should pursue instead. And it's easy to ignore that. It's like, okay, well, I've already put this much effort into such and such thing, so, you know, why let it go to waste? But heck, that's what I was thinking with my Attack on Titan project. I was like, oh, you know, I've already put so much effort into it, maybe I should just try to continue. That's not going to happen. I will maybe try to at least get a functional world download for that, just in case anyone else wants to, I guess, do what you want with it, really. But even then, it's like, man, you know, just like that, so many other examples in my life have just totally fallen through. And usually it's for the better. Usually it's because I needed to figure something else out, or I needed to, you know, get some sort of, you know more about myself before that eternal passion pops up, to where, you know, you really do find something where you're like, oh yeah, I can actually do this every day, all day, and be happy. Like, yeah, it's crazy how much you really have to figure yourself out before you even find something like that. I don't think I have yet, which is why I'm just kind of messing around here, rambling, doing other things in my life, trying new things out, is because it's just none of it feels right, you know? I've chased this, I've chased that, even with my last job. I had so many ambitions with my last job. Man, I saw so many things. I was like, you know, maybe I can improve this, or, you know, maybe I can just work hard enough and accomplish, you know, get to a certain pay grade or a certain position, and then be all set and ready to go, right? But that didn't happen, even though, yeah, I did put my all in. I did try every single day. That's just clearly not how things work. Just like that little scrap right there. I hit so many shots. My commander was even healing me, and I still died. That's kind of funny, but yeah. So I've really come to this realization, whatever this is even supposed to mean, just to be myself, to not care if you know, I think there's something grand I should be doing or working towards. You know, it's really just about the simple yes or no questions. Like when I decided to make this rant video, that was a yes or no. It wasn't like, oh, I got to do this with the rant, I got to talk about that, or, you know, oh, what game should I play to ramble about? Like, no, I made it very simple on myself. I was like, you know, just do what you feel like doing, talk about what you feel like talking about. Nothing else matters. Like, who cares? And already this is feeling pretty good. Just hanging out, playing some Natural Selection 2, a game that nobody else knows about. This game still has real people that play it. I don't know how. I genuinely don't know how this game is even still alive. But it is. So, you know, I still play this time to time. Just because it's like, you know, sometimes you just gotta have that completely brainless little dopamine. Oh boy. This, hey, don't bother healing me, Commander. I'm not doing anything over here besides distracting them for 5 seconds. This is actually roughly about how good I normally do. Tons of assists, 0.5 KD. Oh yeah, that's the life. So Yeah, I decided to make that ramble because, why not? Well, mostly because that other YouTuber inspired me because, and they said it seriously. Go check out that video if whoever is actually watching this, because they worded things way better than I can, and they have a lot more experience rambling than I do. So, oh, how are they still alive? I totally just beamed that thing and it's still alive. See, it's just everything is on Dark Souls level difficulty, okay? So that's why it's okay to fail. It's not even about learning anything. It's okay to fail because it's not even really failing, you know? A great quote that they shared was that, oh, that lurk finally died. We're human beings. We're not human doers, okay? We're here to be. We're here to experience. We're here to literally just be, okay? We're not here just to do, okay? We're not here just to think. We're not here just for any of that. It's like, we're just here, and especially given my existential nature, I'm always questioning. I'm always just like, what am I really doing here? Like, what is this all really about? Like, what even? Right? Well, exactly. What even? Like, it just is, It just is. Like, even though I'm sitting here, I've been trying to make better lifestyle habits, and that includes not playing games. But here I am. I'm playing a game because I felt like it. And, again, if I hit a point where I'm like, man, what am I doing playing this game? Well, then exactly, that's what shapes destiny, and that's where the next moment will unfold. Whether I play the rest of this game out once I finish this ramble, or I just hop off and decide to go do something else. So yeah, I don't really care what I got going on, just as long as I feel like I'm doing whatever I should be doing. Some of that involves responsibility. Some of it involves like honoring myself and my interests. And some of it just involves simply doing nothing. Just being. Just simply being present, or taking care of myself, or just being okay with myself. Now, I like to think that I'm okay with myself and sitting with myself, but then, when I sit there quietly and really just sit there, no, it's impossible. Like, it feels like I should always be doing something at all times. That's why, I think that's the real reason why I'm sitting here playing a game while I'm rambling. It's because I can't just simply sit here and do nothing. Like, I feel like I have to be doing something at all times. And it hurts, it's, and not just doing something, but like doing something amazing. Like, that's the feeling. And it's, I'm at a point where I'm stopping caring about that, because it's like, okay, if I do something awesome, then you know what? It's just going to be done purely for the sake of what I feel like doing. And if I don't do anything amazing, that's fine too. I'm just going to do whatever comes to mind. Because then once you get in a habit of doing that, then whatever you're doing just becomes easier. So, like, I could sit here and think about all the jobs I should be applying for. Oh, figure out what you want to do next. What's the next big thing? But really, it just has to come out of like a natural necessity, if you can. I mean, yeah, I know in a way that's kind of a luxury nowadays. Is like, oh man, you have time to think about what job you want. Like, well, yes and no. It's more like, again, just whatever feels right. And so, if you sit there and you apply to a million jobs, you're probably going to end up with the one that makes you the least happy. But if you just take a minute and really, dive in and be like, you know what is the most, necessary path from here forward, you know? And so even though you might end up with another job you don't like, trying to do it out of a different perspective, out of a different kind of intention, can at least make things a little bit less miserable. But if you're chasing a certain job and you're like, oh, maybe you finally get it, that's no guarantee. That is absolutely no guarantee. So if you settle for something less out of necessity, you're likely to not be as miserable because your expectations were already low. But if you get the job that you want and then you realize, oh, this isn't actually what I wanted, then you're probably gonna actually be more miserable than if you were just settling for something less in the meantime. So that's kind of the perspective I'm trying to, well, not even trying to, it's just what it's kind of like after the dust settles, like this is what's left, is like, I'm not even doing anything purely out of ambition or purely out of some desire. Like at this point, it's either necessary or it's just what I feel like doing in that moment. Like everything else is a waste of time. If I don't feel like doing it, then there's going to be pressure, there's going to be resistance. If I'm doing something because I think that's what I should be doing, then I'm going to quickly realize that that's not actually what I wanted. Man, this this game is falling apart. This is kind of funny. Yeah, no, that's some pretty deep thoughts there, right? But no, I swear, there's some sort of global kind of interconnected like consciousness happening, where a lot of people that are generally in tune with themselves are feeling this exact same thing. Of just this things that just aren't working, things that we've been conditioned to our whole lives that are clearly not even true. And that has to do a lot with this society and what the standards are opposing onto us. It just leads us to either be dictated what we should be doing, or it makes us form these unrealistic expectations for ourselves, that even if, at any level of ambition or motivation, it simply comes down to, does it feel right? Like, I don't know, I ignored my feelings for a long time. But then come to find out, it's like, it's when you actually feel those things uninterrupted and without judgment that you actually find the truth within yourself of, whatever it may be. It could be philosophical, it could be action oriented, whatever it is. Like if something doesn't feel right about it, then it's probably because it's something that you're going to be miserable with, or a decision you're not going to be happy with. And the reason why a lot of people do things they don't want to do regardless is simply because of other people. Because other people, whether it be your friends, your family, your peers, people you look up to, they impose their own beliefs on you. They impose their own expectations. And, you could genuinely feel like you're doing something worthwhile, that you're doing what you believe in. And meanwhile, everyone else around you just is looking at you with a weird stare, like, what? Like, huh? Like, what are you doing? Excuse me? It's like, well, see, and then that discourages a lot of it, is just, it's hard not to care what other people think. In fact, even when you think you're done with that, it's like, no, that's a lifelong thing. Like, unless you're some corporate CEO that literally doesn't care about human life, if you're a regular person, then yeah, you're going to care about these things your entire life. Because then, okay, you're gonna meet new people. You're gonna find other people that you respect, and then their opinions are gonna have that kind of power over you. So it's not something that can be avoided. It's more like just something. It's where strength. It's where true strength comes from. It's like, okay, I understand that these other people are questioning my decisions, or wondering this direction that I'm going in, like why, or doubting it. But then it's like, you know what, if you can believe in yourself, that's all you need. And it's really hard to learn that, to accept that, and to run with that. It's probably the hardest thing ever. And that's why I feel like that's kind of where I am right now, is like I'm sitting here like, okay, I have a pretty good idea of what I want to fill my time with, whether it be something productive, or something completely nonsensical, such as playing this game, right? Because as soon as I start doing something that doesn't feel right, it just drains my energy. Like I could spend a day being productive, doing things that just feel right. Whether it be, okay, I gotta do a load of laundry, and then it's like, okay, maybe I should do some stretches and go for a walk, and then maybe I should just spend the rest of the day doing not a damn thing. That's all valid. And so having this pressure, like you always got to be doing something differently, or something according to someone else's standards, or even your own high standards, that's where the exhaustion comes in. And that's, I feel like, if I was doing some sort of huge project that I genuinely felt passionate about, that I genuinely believed in, that like nothing else mattered at that point, like I could do that all freaking day. And by the end of the day, I'll still be energized because I was in that mode of passion throughout all of it. But, if you're just doing something because it feels like a job, or it is a job, well, then yeah, it's like, no shit, you're gonna be miserable, and you're not gonna feel like you're honoring your own incarnation. And that also ties back into necessity again. If you don't have a choice, if you're just doing what you gotta do to survive, then that's where you need to bring that passion from. Is like, okay, I'm doing this out of necessity, and so that's the whole purpose, right? So even if we're not thinking about things creatively, or in terms of like, having luxury time on your hands, like, oh, I can spend this day doing whatever I want, whether you're there or you're in survival mode, either having that level of either passion or just complete necessity, it just seems less draining. Like, there's at least something you can feel proud of at the end of the day, or feel like you're doing everything that you can, and that's great, you know? But chasing things constantly, that's where a lot of us get caught up. Is that, okay, you feel the purpose, you feel the ambition, and yet, but then it's like whatever you are exploring, or whatever you're choosing to do with that motivation and ambition, 9 out of 10 times it's gonna fall off, because it ends up not being the thing you want to do. And then there's this obligation that you got to follow through anyway, otherwise you're a complete failure. When in reality, there is no failure. It's just life. It's just more experience. You're just being, right? You don't have to do things out of the sake of doing them. You should just do them for the sake of just being. Just that's where you are. That's what you're doing, because it just is. I think a lot of people are afraid of that, because it's easy to think that there's no purpose there if you're just floating with the wind, or if you're just I'm not saying like follow every desire that you have. I'm just saying, if there's something you feel like you should be doing, just go do it. And if it's something that you're anxious about, then that's probably just even more evidence that you should be doing that, you know? All right, well, that's enough of the ramble. I'll just cut it off there. Oh man, well. Anyways, I'll be back with another earthquake video here soon, and who knows what else. So anyways, hope you all enjoyed, and I'll catch you all in the next one.